Hello, and thanks for joining us on Consumer Confidential here on Today All Day. I'm Vicky Nguyen. We're back with more insider tips and the latest consumer news, from warnings about knockoff weight loss drugs to what you should consider before buying pet insurance. It's all coming your way. But first, a look at new technology that aims to make school buses safer for students.
This is video from a school bus in North Carolina. Watch as the students on the left attempt to cross the road to board the bus, but then are nearly run over. And this Ohio bus driver hailed as a hero after saving a student from being hit by that car. These incidents are known as stop-arm violations. A new survey estimates this happens more than 43 million times every year. These stop-arm violations can have deadly consequences. According to a government report, 13-year-old Evelyn Gurney was run over and killed by a driver in Wisconsin as she prepared to board her bus. The report stated the stop-arm was deployed when the driver swerved around it and struck her.
But new technology aims to make it safer for students by enabling buses to communicate directly with cars. I'm here in Indiana at the test track for IC Bus. It's the nation's largest bus manufacturer, and I'm going to show you for the first time how it all works.
It's called Cellular Vehicle to Everything, or CV2X for short, and it's being developed by dozens of automakers and tech companies, including Audi and IC Bus.
It just takes safety to the next level.
With me is Justina Morrison from IC Bus. The bus driver slows down and extends the stop sign. Heading toward us is a car also outfitted with CV2X technology. That screen alerts the bus driver of the approaching vehicle.
Nearby vehicle in motion.
As the car gets closer, the technology senses it has not slowed down, once again warning the bus driver, don't let kids off that bus.
High-speed vehicle approaching.
What is that screen telling the bus driver right now?
It's telling the bus driver how fast the car is approaching, how close the car is to the school bus, as well as from what direction that car is approaching the bus.
So we saw how this tech works on buses, but what about for drivers of other cars who really need to know where those kids are? With me is Pam Malhotra from Audi to talk about what the experience is like behind the wheel. Pam, how will this prevent crashes?
So the technology that we have in the Audi e-tron actually communicates directly with the school bus up to 10 times a second. And it doesn't matter if the driver in the vehicle is actually able to see the other vehicle or not, because it can look around corners, it can sense a vehicle through an obstruction like another vehicle. And this is how we prevent accidents on the road and save lives.
Let's see how it works.
This time the bus is stopped, but I can't see it because it's hidden from view by that semi-truck. As I approach, I get a warning on my dashboard.
Wow. So, Pam, I don't even see a bus or any stop signs, but already the car's telling me something's ahead.
Exactly, and it's telling you, heads up, you need to slow down.
Okay. Let's see what happens when I don't slow down.
And there's the warning.
It gives me an extra time to react, and that can be the difference between life and death.
Absolutely.
We try it again, now with the semi-truck behind the bus as I maneuver to pass it.
This is a very real scenario. A big rig slowed down in front of me. I don't see anything, so I'm just going to change lanes around it. But I'm already getting an indication. There's a school bus. Now I'm getting the stop indication. And if I don't stop, there's that alert. And I had plenty of time to stop.
And CV2X isn't limited to buses and cars. It can be used to alert drivers to approaching emergency vehicles, upcoming construction zones, bicycles, even pedestrians, as long as they're equipped with the cellular technology.
But the safety benefit that it delivers on the road is incredible.
Incredible safety when everything on the road can communicate, so we can avoid scenes like this.
The technology is not exclusive to Audi or Navistar. Nearly every automaker is working to get this into their vehicles as quickly as possible. Audi says they're hoping it will be standard technology in their vehicles within 3 to 5 years. Now, if you think that's a long time, the FCC actually set aside the bandwidth to make this all possible all the way back in 1999. Next, drugs like Ozempic are being used for weight loss, and recently, more websites have been selling knockoff versions. But are they safe?
These days, it seems like everyone is looking to shed a few pounds.
Baby, the hype is real.
But as the craze for using diabetes drugs for weight loss grows, so too is the emerging market to get so-called knockoff versions of these popular medications, all without a prescription. A new report by the Wall Street Journal found more than 50 websites selling semaglutide and tirzepatide, the active ingredients in diabetes drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Anytime demand vastly outstrips supply, entrepreneurs will step into the breach.
While nearly all of the websites have disclaimers that the ingredients are not for human consumption, the Journal found some had instructions for how people could use the substances on their own.
They're not verifying who you are, and they do things like prefer to be paid in Bitcoin.
The paper also says at least 18 of the sites have run ads on Instagram and Facebook in recent months, including ones like these from SAF Research, offering huge gains and a buy one, get two free deal on their vials of semaglutide. Facebook and Instagram's parent company Meta says they've removed ads for the sites on their platforms after being flagged by the Journal, telling NBC News in a statement reading in part, "Our policies prohibit the advertisement of prescription drugs without the proper authorization and approval." On its website, SAF Research offers numerous disclaimers stressing their products are not dietary supplements, but instead research chemicals for laboratory use only. But some are choosing to ignore these kinds of warnings. Across the websites they reviewed, the Journal found that a month's supply of the ingredients cost around $100 to $200, compared to brand name drugs like Ozempic, which can cost around $1,000 a month without insurance. Lori Cicatello says she was prescribed Ozempic for her type 2 diabetes last year. Months later, she hit an insurance coverage gap, making it too expensive for her.
They said now it's going to be $754.
So she began taking research-grade semaglutide that her friend found online for about $100 a month.
What's really in this? What am I taking here? By the end of the month, I wasn't comfortable with taking it anymore.
The FDA is now sounding the alarm about the potential dangers of buying these ingredients online, saying in a statement that they advise consumers to not purchase peptides marketed as sold for research use and mix, ingest, or inject them. There are no FDA-approved generic versions of these substances, and drug makers Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly say they don't supply their ingredients to companies selling research substances. Earlier this year, our NBC News investigation found more than a dozen telehealth websites advertising Ozempic for weight loss. I experienced firsthand just how easy it was to get these medications online at a low cost. Submit my request.
I had my Ozempic prescription by the very next day.
My producer also got a prescription.
This is Jamie.
No one ever saw us on video or in person, and neither of us has diabetes or would be medically defined as obese. While it may seem like it's becoming easier than ever to get your hands on these drugs, experts say doing so comes at your own risk.
I really advise patients to steer clear of the online versions because we just can't control the quality or the safety in those cases.
The Wall Street Journal tells us some of the websites they contacted have already been taken down. We reached out to SAF Research for additional comment. We have not heard back. The website says they use different marketing tools to reach their audience and that none of their ads make claims that could send the wrong message about their products. SAF also emphasizes they do not sell supplements or medications. With so many counterfeit options, Novo Nordisk actually launched a website, semaglutide.com, to help people spot the difference between what's real and what's fake. Coming up, is pet insurance really worth it? How to decide if it's right for you. Plus, tips to help college students eat healthier on a budget. Welcome back, Americans. We love our pets, and more owners are now getting pet insurance. But it can be confusing to figure out if it makes sense for you. We help break it down.
We love our pets like family. An estimated 111 million American households have a dog or cat. And just like any member of the family, healthcare is important, but an emergency vet visit can cost between $250 to $1,600. It's prompted a booming business in the U.S., pet insurance. The number of policies purchased at the end of last year has risen nearly 93% since 2019.
It's another kid. You know, I have 3 daughters and I have Lucy.
You got her as a puppy, and immediately you thought, this is a good idea to have insurance for our pet. Why?
Well, just like you would insure your children. You want to make sure, you know, if something bad happens, that they're protected.
Jeff Foose purchased a policy from Trupanion, among the nation's largest pet insurance companies. He says his coverage started at $33 a month for Lucy. But after 9 years, the cost has risen to almost $80 a month. That's a 141% increase. Foose says in some years, his rate increased more than the 20% his policy said it would never exceed annually.
Do you think this was a worthwhile investment?
Absolutely not.
It can be hard to tell if pet insurance is worth it for you. We requested quotes from 5 popular companies using Bruno, a 3-year-old mixed breed dog. For similar coverage and a deductible between $200 to $500, take a look at the rates. Embrace at the low end at $41 a month. Trupanion the highest at $167. None covers routine exams.
We would absolutely recommend that you get your insurance when you have a puppy or kitten, because that's when a pet doesn't have any pre-existing conditions.
Margie Tooth is the president of Trupanion. The company brought in almost $1 billion in revenue last year and says it's paid $2 billion in claims since the company was founded in 2000. We asked her about Jeff Foose's case and other complaints that Trupanion has raised its premiums to unaffordable levels that are far higher than vet care inflation.
You said it's important to your company not to make consumers feel like it's a bait and switch, and yet we have talked to some who feel like they're not getting what they were promised. How do you respond to those criticisms?
It's very disappointing to hear that people feel that way. I think we work very hard to ensure that we're explaining our value proposition and that we make it clear to people when they sign up with us that your price may change.
Do you think there's enough regulation to make this industry transparent and to help consumers really understand the pricing models?
I do not. I think it's changing. I think it needs to continue to change more.
It's a bad financial product.
Kevin Brassler is executive editor for Consumers Checkbook, a nonprofit providing price research and consumer advice.
In the case of pet insurance, we found that overall, compared to the payouts and the premiums you have to pay and all the other out-of-pocket expenses, they're generally really bad deals for most pet owners.
Do you think it's a better idea to set aside some money in a rainy day fund rather than paying these premiums?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to do far better off financially in the long run by taking those premiums that you'd pay to pet insurance companies and just saving them and taking care of your pet's costs out of pocket.
If you want to buy pet insurance, Brassler says check accident-only policies to cover emergencies like car accidents or poisoning, and look for a higher deductible plan to lower your monthly payments. Foose says he would have been better off with a rainy day fund.
If you had just paid out of pocket for Lucy's incidents, would you be ahead?
I'd be ahead of about $2,300, $2,400.
We reached out to Embrace. They told us their policies provide peace of mind, and like insurance for homes, cars, and people, pets should be protected too. Up next, healthy and budget-friendly meal ideas for college students. And later, a look at what's fueling the growth in popularity of stick shifts. Consumer Confidential continues after this break. Welcome back to Consumer Confidential. College students, they're not making the grade when it comes to healthy eating. So I hit the grocery aisles with a chef who specializes in healthy and budget-friendly meals.
With nearly 3 million freshmen expected to attend college this fall, many students will live on their own for the very first time. A fresh taste of freedom served with a full plate of new responsibilities. Gail Cresci, a registered dietitian at Cleveland Clinic Children's, says as first-year students adapt to college life, some may struggle to maintain a healthy diet, a time I remember all too well.
It was a lot of pizza, it was a lot of cookies, it was a lot of eating late at night,
and a lot of contributing factors to the so-called freshman 15.
Where are some areas that calories like to hide and sneak into a first-year student's diet?
We find hidden calories in things like alcohol. Another area is with coffee. You may get some of those extra syrup flavorings, a whipped cream that's on those coffees. We see a lot of extra calories with fast food.
What are 3 things you might advise a first-year student when it comes to eating healthy?
Avoid eating late at night if at all possible, and you're going to be hungry during the day, so have some healthy snacks available that are quick grab and goes. Another thing is to make sure you're drinking adequate water.
Cresci also recommends eating 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal, which equals about 3 ounces of chicken breast or lean beef.
This is where you live when you're in college.
We've called on chef, TV personality, and senior food editor for Budget Bites, Monty Carlo.
Monty, class is in session.
Yeah.
Clearly we got the assignment. You're at Cale University.
Okay, School of Hard Knocks.
Yes, I'm representing University of San Francisco. So you say that when kids are off on their own for the first time, often cooking on a budget, you got to start with an A-plus grocery list.
You have to start with an A-plus grocery list, and the best part is it's a really cheesy, easy one.
Let's go. Let's start with fresh fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
It's important to eat nutritiously, but this stuff is expensive and it doesn't always last a long time.
No, it doesn't. This has the life of like a Disney star. What, like 24 hours? But the best deal for you when you want berries in your life is to go frozen.
These fresh blueberries cost about $5 a pound, but for the same price, you can buy 3 times that amount frozen, adding them to oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothies.
Let's talk about packaged produce.
Yes.
What's your tip here?
Do not do it.
It's a no-no?
No, come on. You're going to pay like $5 for 4 little pieces of corn when you could buy this for 59 cents a pop, right? Just peel it, bro. It's not that hard. And if you have a microwave, you have fabulous fresh corn.
Carlo, who teaches college cooking classes, says when it comes to appliances, every dorm room or apartment also needs a coffee pot.
You can use it to make soups. You can use it to make eggs. Anything that you would stew or heat up in a pot, you can make in a coffee pot.
The next part of our lesson, a study of hot deals on frozen meals.
A staple of college life is pizza.
But you don't want to be dialing that pizza delivery company. One pepperoni pizza is $17. You can get 3 for $10.
Carlos suggests stocking up on a variety of store-brand frozen vegetables to use as pizza toppings.
It's starting to feel kind of gourmet.
Okay.
Or as a way to help another college classic earn some extra credit.
Are you ready for the pop quiz?
I guess so.
Which country consumes the most ramen per person per year?
USA?
No! Vietnam! Yes!
We love our ramen.
Costing $3 for 6 servings, Carlo partially cooks the noodles and divides them into mason jars with the veggies.
When you're ready to eat, you add a little water, a little broth, you put it in the microwave, and you're set.
So you just pre-make these ramen jars?
Yes.
Using your noodle to find a cart full of savings.
Winning.
Class dismissed. For other budget-friendly tips, consider shopping store brands and downloading the store's app for extra savings. Also, shop the less popular cuts of meat like chicken thighs or sirloin tip steaks. And add beans to meat dishes for more bulk and protein. Now, let's switch gears to the recent growth in popularity of stick shifts. I hadn't driven a stick in nearly 20 years, so we found the best instructor to rev up my skills, a NASCAR champion.
Drift, slide, side to side. But before we get into my skills behind the wheel, let's revisit that time in 2019. When Dylan and Al taught Craig and Chanel how to drive with a manual transmission.
I didn't even feel you change it, because I'm that good.
As for me in 2023, you decide.
Let's take it for a spin.
All right. So that's not exactly how it went, but I was in for some fun.
Today we're outside Citi Field here in Queens, New York, and this is the brand new Mustang Dark Horse. It is a manual transmission car. I can't wait to take it for a spin. Problem is, the last time I drove a stick was 15 years ago. But lucky for me, look who we have here. NASCAR driver, Coca-Cola 600 champion, Ryan Blaney. Hi, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
So there is a rise in interest in these manual transmission cars. What's the appeal, Ryan?
I feel like the appeal of manuals is it kind of makes the driver feel one with the car.
You're engaged.
Yeah, that's a great word. It makes you very engaged with the car. So I'm really excited to show you around it.
Okay, so you'll stay with me as I kind of like go through the bumps?
I got you.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
I'm the first TV journalist to drive the Dark Horse. I know, tough assignment.
What is the first thing I should be thinking about?
So first thing is left foot in on the clutch.
Okay.
As you're letting your left foot off the clutch, you know, your right foot's going down to the gas, and it's like on an even motion. And so a lot of people kind of dump the clutch, and that's when you get like the big herky-jerky.
Did you bring a barf bag? Yeah. There we go. All right. You know, it's like riding a bike. I'm picking it back up again.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have to pay attention when I'm driving a stick. There's no time for texting and being on the phone.
Your right hand's working, your left hand's on the steering wheel. You're not going to be on your phone, right?
While stick shifts accounted for 1.3% of sales in the U.S. in June, searches for new manual cars are up 13%. It's a bright spot in an otherwise downward trend. In 2000, more than 15% of new and used cars sold by CarMax were manual. By 2020, it was only 2.4%. Compare that to electric vehicles, which now make up 5% of car sales.
Let's switch gears and have you show me how it's really done.
Okay,
yeah?
let's do it.
But before we do, Ryan revs up the settings on the car.
Ooh, you put it on some sort of race flag mode.
We're gonna have some fun.
I'm excited. You can't do worse than I did. I actually went off the track. Woo! Yeah, here we go. So what mode are we in right now? Woo! Super fun mode?
Yeah, super fun mode.
What do I smell? Is that rubber?
Yeah.
That was like real life Fast and Furious, Ryan.
Yeah, I don't recommend anyone doing that on
Definitely.
the roads. But we were here, we were safe, and I'm happy you had fun.
Ford's manual transmission Bronco is also seeing a spike in interest.
There's a lot more people ordering them, and you can definitely tell that they're becoming more popular.
Autumn Schwalbe is a future product planner for Ford's performance cars. She says aside from the fun of driving a stick, manuals can be cheaper too. On average, stick shifts cost nearly $1,800 less than automatics.
What are your friends saying about manual transmission?
I do know a lot of people that are super willing to learn at my age.
As for me, I finished in victory lane.
I didn't have to do much teaching it, so I'm just happy I just get to sit here and ride.
Best journalist driver of the day?
By far.
Your check will be in the mail later. Up next, a mom creating diverse and inclusive dolls for everyone. On the heels of Barbie mania, there's renewed interest in dolls, and I recently met a mom on a mission to make playtime more inclusive.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Barbie's blockbuster summer brought dolls back into the spotlight, and a look at what's for sale now reveals a slew of new toys, from dolls for boys and female action figures to Miniland's dolls representing children with Down syndrome, and Mattel's Fashionista line featuring a doll in a wheelchair. Even Lego spreading love to the LGBTQIA+ community with this Everyone is Awesome set. In a $40 billion industry, 50% of parents rank diversity and representation as a top consideration when toy shopping.
I was just shocked by the fact that I couldn't find a single doll that I thought looked remotely like any Asian child I know.
Eleanor Mack says last year, while shopping for a doll resembling her now 3-year-old daughter Jillian, she was disappointed.
You only knew those dolls were Asian because they had a name like Ling, or they were holding a panda bear, or they had that really bad blunt haircut.
Yeah! American Girl produced Corinne Tan, a Chinese-American doll in 2022, in part to help kids deal with anti-Asian racism. But Max says the doll's backstory highlights the Chinese father's lack of work during the pandemic.
Her Chinese-American father is this struggling ski instructor in Aspen who effectively can't provide for the family. The mom gets a divorce, remarries a wealthy white guy named Arnie.
Wow, I did not know the backstory of that doll.
Your reaction is exactly how I felt.
And it wasn't just the backstory.
And when I looked at that doll, the big round eyes, the skin color, she just didn't look Asian.
American Girl telling NBC News the Corinne backstory was written by an Asian American author, and designers consulted with her and an anti-Asian racism expert, among others, on Corinne's hairstyle and color, skin tone, and a new eye sculpt to more authentically reflect her Chinese American heritage. The company adding the doll has received an overwhelmingly positive response from fans.
I wanted our children to be proud of their Asian eyes, to know that they are beautiful.
Mac decided to make the doll she wishes she had as a girl, working with other Asian American parents to design, develop, and source the materials. Just a year after coming up with the idea for an Asian American doll who loves to bake with her grandmother, Mac introduced the world to Jilly Bing.
What was your daughter's reaction when she saw this doll for the first time?
She just gasped, and she's like, Jilly, she looks like me. You want to color in Jilly Bing?
Mac eventually left her job in healthcare. Now her San Francisco home is Jilly Bing headquarters.
How many dolls in this house right now?
300 or 400. We started out with close to 2,000. So she has a little chef's hat that flips over and becomes this little...
Who doesn't love an egg tart?
Exactly.
Jilly Bing becoming part of a trend of non-white dolls originating in the 1960s.
We're seeing games, we're seeing puzzles, and it's really starting to broaden the horizon so that kids can go into a store and they're going to see toys that really reflect the real world that we all live in.
James Zahn, senior editor at the Toy Insider, says consumer spending has convinced toy makers to invest the time and money it takes to develop more inclusive products.
When kids are able to play with toys that look like themselves or look like their family, their friends, whoever they're seeing in the community, I think that it just sort of works with their own development in thinking of the world as a very diverse place.
And when those toys step beyond stereotypes, they can have a lasting impact for generations.
And that's our time for now. Be sure to join me for another edition of Consumer Confidential on Today All Day. For all of us here at NBC News, I'm Vicky Nguyen.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.